So I just saw Escape from Tomorrow, and it's a very confused movie. Not confusing in the sense that the story's hard to follow, although it does have some elements of that too, but confused in the sense that I never got a clear grasp of what the movie was trying to be. If you're unfamiliar with it, Escape from Tomorrow is a movie that got a lot of attention earlier this year because it was shot completely guerrilla style at Disney World. No one there knew they were shooting it, didn't know they were making a movie, and there's a lot of talk when it was playing at festivals that there was no way it would ever get released. But it has. Disney so far has left it alone. I kind of get the impression that they're just going to ignore it and hope that it goes away. I think trying to sue them will make Disney look bad. But anyway, the movie was surprisingly juvenile. Not just as far as the humor goes, although there's plenty of that, but also juvenile in the sense that the symbolism, the visual symbolism is very cheap and easy. Lots of dumb phallic imagery, the fountain shooting up and things like that. But the movie is about this family. They're on vacation at Disney World, and on their last day, the dad finds out in the morning that he's been fired. So they're at the park. He's sort of trying to suppress his feelings, his depression about this. He also has a very nagging wife, not very creative. And he starts to sort of hallucinate and see these bizarre images. He loses his grip on reality, basically. And some of the early stuff in the movie, with him seeing little demon faces while on It's a Small World and things like that, some of that stuff works. The problem is the movie goes off the rails. It goes way too far, way too ridiculous, and ends up being sort of a series of scenes that don't really build on each other. They're just sort of scenes. And then when they end, you say, well, now that happened. And it just feels like, I hate to be this simplistic, but it feels like weirdness for the sake of weirdness. It gets to a point where you kind of lose any interest you may have in the story or investment you may have in the character. Because the main character in the movie, I don't know who that actor is, but he's really great. And he's sort of what holds the movie together. Seeing these things, you're seeing a lot of this movie through his eyes, and they got a really good actor for the part. He's really, really good. So there's the scene where the main character is just shitting on a toilet for what seems like forever. There's a scene where he discovers that all the Disney princesses are actually high-paid hookers for Asian tourists. There's scenes where the lead guy is shooting Neosporin out all over the walls, and there's like naked women on the walls, and so it looks like semen shooting everywhere. And it's like, is this an Austin Powers movie now? So the humor is very juvenile, and the sensibilities of the movie are kind of at that same level, where you're just sort of watching and going, I get it. You know, the fantasy world that these theme parks are trying to create is in sharp contrast with the grim reality that we live in. Like, I get it. And so it's just all over the place where you're like, okay, dark comedy about miserable things happening at the happiest place on earth, David Lynch style perverse psychosexual journey into insanity, dumb vulgar comedy, B-movie garbage with scientists and robots. This movie's all over the place, and not that can work in some movies. There are some movies that kind of are jumping around to a point where it keeps you interested because you don't know where it's going. But this is not one of those movies. It just feels like a disconnected mess. One thing the movie does really well is captures that feeling of being on a family vacation where everything is supposed to be happy and fun, but it always feels a little forced. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying this as a joke, I'm saying this completely seriously, a movie that tackles this better and tackles the descent of madness of the father figure because of the pressures of being on a family vacation. One movie that captures that better is National Lampoon's Vacation.
We're all gonna have so much fucking fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You'll be whistling Symphony Doodah out of your assholes.
Having said all that, I do think the movie is worth seeing, if for no other reason than just to marvel at what they got away with, because it is impressive. And also the lead performance is very good. I liked him a lot. And there are images and scenes in the movie that do sort of stick with you and work on their own. It's just a shame that they weren't used in a more sort of cohesive, satisfying movie.